Okay, gang, here we are. This is going to be the first in a series of how to build an ukulele. So we're going to do kind of the methodology of I'm going to talk in the beginning, and I'm not going to talk at all during the process that we're going to go over today, and then I'll come in the end. So if you want to fast forward through the actual building part and you don't want to miss any commentary, don't worry about it. Just fast forward through it. Well, I'll let you know when we're going to stop talking, and then you'll see me come back, and then we'll see if we can close it up at the end. Today what we're going to do is we're going to work on jointing plates for an ukulele, basically the top and the back. We're not going to start from milling. We're going to start from a piece of wood that I've already resawn down. And it's not the best piece of wood, but we'll show you an advantage of what happens when you can buy your own. When you buy your own wood, you do your own milling. And well, let's start getting into it, and let's just show you what we got right here. Okay, so here's the piece of wood that we have. This is a piece of coir. And when I say it's not the nicest piece of wood, there's some knots in here. There's some spalting, which in some cases is nice, and we're actually going to use it, just not for the tops and back of this one. So this is how it started off, and what I did already was I figured out where I wanted the body to be, and this is where I got it, right inside here. So how I got there, and by the way, I just cut it out, all 4 pieces. This is 4 pieces right here. All right. How we got there is we opened it up, and we book matched this. Okay, so just drop that. There we go. We can see what we're doing. So we're book matching, and we're trying to figure out which side and where we want the center seam. So I decided to cut it right in this area right here. I could have, sometimes you got to mess around. You put the wood on the other side, you look where it's going. And one thing I want to highlight, this back. You see this piece of wood right here. What I want to try to avoid is, unstraight green. So you can see it's kind of straight in this section right here. But you see when this wood starts coming this way, you start getting, and some would argue, start getting some end grain. So I feel that the glue joint is not as good when you're getting this type of green pattern right here. I'd rather have a straight green pattern on the tops and backs. On the sides, you pretty much do whatever you want because you're going to bend it anyway. So what I did was, if you see this piece of wood right here, when we book matched it, the grain is fairly straight right in this section. You got a nice little wave here, but for the most part, it's straight coming across here. So what I'll do is, when this wood is whole, sorry, I should have kept it whole, I'll grab my template or my form right here, and I'll try to visualize what the top and the back is going to look like. And in this case, I'll just use it right here. I drew out half a side right here. I give myself probably, because I'm going to cut it close, give myself about a 1/4 inch top and back. It's not going to take, we're not going to take much off. I'll give myself a 1/4 inch, not to about a 1/2 inch off the front, and then off the top bout here and the bottom bout here is a little bit more than a 1/4 inch, and that is the cut right there. So these 4 pieces right here are going to provide the pieces for a top and a back. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and joint this edge right here. So that's the process that we're going to do today. We're going to joint it, then we're going to come back to this bench, and we're actually going to glue it together on this jig right here. So I believe it's the Spanish style jig. But there's different ways to go ahead and joint this. You can use a joiner. Some guys will use a marble plate or a granite plate with sandpaper. Some guys will use a router and a jig on that. Some they'll do it on a router table. I used to use a joiner. I still have a joiner. I have a granite plate that's flat with sandpaper on it. I have a aluminum straight bar that I can run across here. But I've been doing a shooting board and a number 6 Stanley plane as of late. That one I got off of eBay, and I refurbished it. There's some modifications I had to do to it with the blade itself. In fact, let me get it over here. You know what, we'll go right over to that bench right now, and we'll show you what we got. Okay, so that's pretty much the plane that we're going to use, and this is the shooting board that we made. If you want to know how to make this shooting board, yes, it's pretty well used. This is a copy of the Cosman one, and there's a little, how he glues it, there's a little convex going over the board that way. So there's an actual slight high spot right in the middle, and then there's a channel, a rabbit right inside here, really slight. And I actually made another slot here where if I wanted to, I can shorten the shooting board and just use this top section right now. But for now, we're just going to use this whole section right down to the end. Okay, for the plane that I'm using, this took a lot of modification because an old plane like this one came from, there's a date in here, I think it was 1902. Or, yep, 1902. So 1902. Right over there, 1902. So it's over 100 years old. But when you put a new blade on it, it's really thick, the newer blades. And I put a newer blade on it. What happens is the throat needed some modification, so I had to actually open up the throat on this side. All right. I also milled a lot of this down to make this flat and make it 90 to the backside, because what's happening on these old planes, there's actually a high spot over here. So on this side of the plane, the side that rides on the shooting board, because this is all I use it for, this side is flat, 90 to here. That was important. They actually make shooting planes or joining planes specifically for that. And this is all we're going to do. You see these X's on these lines over here? That's just wax. I've already set the plane, and we'll see what we can do. I might have to set as we go along, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 at a time, and I'm going to stop talking. We're going to run through joining this, and then we're going to go and glue it, and you can fast forward through it if you need to. Okay, that's it. So some of the things we did I didn't talk about is after we jointed, I say we, after I jointed the piece, I actually candled it. I'm in the garage right now, it's daytime. And what we do is we hold it up against a light like this and just make sure there's no light inside. It's called candling, you guys can look that up. And this one actually needs a little bit more work, but I figure I'll get this done. This is the second one that I was working on. Then we came over here and we put it on the this jointing jig. There's many different ways to do this, and I learned this a long time ago from Bob Gleason over on the Big Island. And when I heard about this, I said, "Are you kidding me? We're gonna joint with rope," and it works very well. I actually built this carriage portion underneath the wedges, and what it does is it holds the pieces down like that and prevents it from buckling up in the center. Sorry. What we also use, and I didn't mention, or what I also use, I didn't mention, is I use hot hide glue. And I learned how to use hot hide glue off of a forum that I'm a member of. And a lot of builders, believe it or not, high-end builders, I'm fortunate to be able to interact with these guys. They use hot hide glue. And I put hot hide glue in a basically container. There's stainless steel nuts, cap bolts in here, which I use for the bolt-on neck joints. And what that does is it's a heat sink or a heat retainer, helps keep it hot, and it keeps this thing upright inside the hot. It's just a regular hold heat hide glue pot. Once I'm done with this, I actually freeze it, and I just fill up as I need it. I have it frozen. We can go over hide glue in another video, but if you like what you've seen, please comment on the concept of doing commentary at the beginning, commentary at the end, and not a damn thing through the middle of the video. Hopefully you actually fast forwarded through some of the joining part, because that, it's like watching paint dry. Anyway, guys, we'll come back with the next video, and I don't know what we're going to work on next. If we're going to work on sides, we'll probably work on the sides next. Have a good one.